Just a few weeks ago, Pakistan looked like one of the biggest winners of the US-Iran war. Field Marshal Asim wasn't just Pakistan's army chief anymore. He was suddenly being projected as West Asia's crisis manager. But now the fighting has returned. Iran-backed Houthi rebels have now opened a new front by attacking Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea and threatening a naval blockade. The Pakistan Foreign Office even had to put out a statement threatening Iran's regional allies, the Houthis, of a possible military action if Pakistani-flagged ships are attacked in the Red Sea. And just like that, Pakistan's biggest diplomatic success has become its biggest headache, because Islamabad is trying to do two jobs that are no longer compatible. It wants to remain Iran's trusted interlocutor, but it is also bound by a defense partnership with Saudi Arabia, the very country now under attack by Iran's closest regional ally. So has Pakistan's balancing act finally collapsed? Is Asim Munir now officially dragged into the war as he prepares to defend Riyadh instead of playing peacemaker? And that's what we're going to be decoding today. Pakistan's problem is simple. It cannot afford to lose Saudi Arabia, and it cannot afford to alienate Iran either. Saudi Arabia has repeatedly rescued Pakistan during economic crises through financial assistance, deferred oil payments, and central bank deposits. Iran, meanwhile, isn't just another regional player. It is Pakistan's neighbor. The two countries share a long border that has repeatedly witnessed militant violence, smuggling networks, and insurgent activity. So any instability inside Iran quickly spills over into Pakistan's western provinces. And that is precisely why Pakistan spent months trying to position itself as the bridge between Washington and Tehran, because it had the most to lose from a wider regional war. The objective was simple: prevent a conflict that could wreck Pakistan's economy further, disrupt energy supplies, and destabilize its own borders. So basically, Pakistan was just trying to survive. And then the Houthis entered, announced a Saudi naval blockade. The Red Sea exploded, and Asim Munir's strategy has now banged, or rather crashed, into reality. Following the Houthi attacks on Saudi shipping, Pakistan's Foreign Office issued one of its toughest statements since the Iran crisis began. It condemned the attacks, it warned against threats to Red Sea navigation, and it declared that Pakistan reserves the right to take all necessary measures, including the lawful use of force, to defend its maritime interests. That wasn't diplomatic language, that was deterrence. Because with the Strait of Hormuz disrupted, Pakistan has become increasingly dependent on Saudi crude arriving through Red Sea ports such as Yanbu. If Bab el-Mandab also becomes unsafe, Pakistan's energy security takes another massive hit. So this isn't just Riyadh's problem, it's Pakistan's problem too. The diplomatic messaging did not stop there. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif personally called Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He condemned the attacks, expressed complete solidarity, and said Pakistan stood firmly with Saudi during the crisis. But one detail stood out. Sharif specifically mentioned Field Marshal Asim Munir while delivering that message. In Pakistan's power structure, that matters. Foreign policy on issues involving Saudi, Iran, and national security is really never just about the civilian government in Pakistan. Mentioning the army chief publicly sends a signal that Rawalpindi fully backs the commitment. In other words, this was not merely political rhetoric. It reflected the Pakistani military establishment's position as well. And here is what makes this different from Pakistan's usual pattern of issuing statements and moving on. This one has a treaty teeth behind it. Pakistan and Saudi signed a mutual defense pact last year. Under its terms, an attack on one is treated as an attack on the other. According to Reuters, a Pakistani official has told Iran directly that the Houthi attacks on Saudi will be considered attacks on Pakistan. The official called it, in plain words, a red line. And this is not just talk either. Pakistan has already deployed around 8,000 troops, a fighter jet squadron, and an air defense system to Saudi under this pact. Those assets are reportedly still positioned there, ready to be activated if Houthi attacks escalate. So Pakistan hasn't just picked a side rhetorically. It has already moved military assets to back that very choice. There is another complication. Pakistan shares important security concerns with Iran. Both countries battle militant groups operating around Balochistan. Neither benefits from open hostility. Yet, Saudi remains Pakistan's most important strategic and financial partner in the Gulf. And that is why Islamabad has spent years trying to avoid choosing between these two. But wars have a habit of forcing sides. And every new Houthi missile, every tanker attack, every escalation in the Red Sea narrows Pakistan's room for maneuver. It becomes harder to convince Tehran that Islamabad is a neutral broker, while simultaneously assuring Riyadh that Pakistan will honor its defense commitments if required. Pakistan now finds itself balancing three competing realities: a defense partnership with Saudi, a difficult but unavoidable relationship with Iran, and a mediator's reputation that depends on being trusted by both sides. What's worse is that if Pakistani troops already sit inside Saudi under this defense pact, how close is the region to a scenario where Pakistan is not just condemning attacks, it's actually fighting in one of those? The problem is this: you can stand in the middle only as long as nobody asks which side you're on. The Red Sea may soon force Islamabad to answer that same question. This is Times Access, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe, because the next big global shift will have India at its center.